What's happening, guys? This is Double RPG here, and I'm here to present another 2 cents video on the 2 cents block to you all. For some of you guys that don't know about this while most others do, there was a rumor going around a couple days ago where Final Fantasy XV was going to be delayed until November 29th, 2016, based on leaked promotional images from a GameStop employee. As soon as the rumor popped up on NeoGAF, other sites started to report on the rumor, and Square Enix has not commented on it. Until now. The rumor is indeed true, as Final Fantasy XV has been delayed until this holiday season. This breaking news has left so many of those divided by this issue because of the game's extremely long development cycle that has lasted for over 10 years. It's not at the level of surpassing Duke Nukem Forever's development hell, but Final Fantasy XV is pretty damn close. All joking aside, the game's director Hajime Tabata took the liberty to release a video on YouTube with him addressing the game's delay, and the main reason behind it. Basically, the game is currently under the phase called the Master Version, as it will have all the assets in-game that are necessary for the main campaign, including bonus content that has been made from scratch. To that degree, the development team needs an extra 2 months to polish up the game and include all the bonus content for the Master Version, so that they don't release the game on September 30th like they were supposed to, or else they would have to make a patch available on day 1 of the game's release. Therefore, in order to avoid a day 1 patch, and for everyone who doesn't have the internet to get a day 1 patch won't have to worry about that at all, the release date has been moved to November 29th, 2016, Black Friday to be exact, the day after Thanksgiving. That way, Final Fantasy XV will be at its ultimate quality for everyone to enjoy upon its new release date. Of course, Tabata-san was describing everything like what the Master Version is and what a Day 1 patch is, which I found the latter topic to be pointless because of how everyone knows what a Day 1 patch is in this day and age, honestly. When you watch the video and learn about everything with Final Fantasy XV's delay, there is no way you can hate Hajime Tabata for coming on camera and addressing the whole world about this breaking news. It shows how in touch he is with everyone in this day and age, who have been waiting for so long to play this game at its full capacity. Besides, that humble personality of his definitely reminds me of the late Satoru Iwata when it came to the Nintendo Directs he hosted. Anyway, the thing with game delays have always been a big problem with the video game industry, as I have talked about this numerous times in 2 cents videos, podcasts, and other stuff that I do. But game development always takes a lot longer than you think. There isn't enough wiggle room to justify the need to rush a game out to the market, because we have seen that done numerous times with how publishers don't take into consideration of development times needing to be long in order to achieve perfection and quality in a game's final build, whereas Activision fails to grasp this. However, if they decide to go ahead and release a game as is, then they'll mostly end up as stripped-down versions, or ones where a Day 1 patch will be a mandatory thing. Now, of course, we have to take into account that many delays can lead to people losing faith in a project, a developer, or even an overall company. But what makes Final Fantasy XV a special case in my eyes is the fact that there has not been a release date prior to the one that was announced for September 30th. That's right. Ever since the game started out as Final Fantasy Versus 13, there has not been a release date for the game when it was originally in development for the PlayStation 3 before jumping ship onto the next generation consoles and starting over from scratch. Like I said, the only release date we heard for the game was back during the Uncovered Final Fantasy XV livestream back in March, right before this delay happened. So, to all those who are still whining and moaning about this game not releasing back then, I can understand that. But you have to remember that game development is not a quick and easy thing to achieve if a developer wants to achieve a high-quality product. We also need to take into consideration that the reason why Final Fantasy XV took so long to develop was because of how the former president of Square Enix, Yoichi Wada, was so rubbing Motomu Toriyama's ass in greenlighting sequels to Final Fantasy XIII that a vast majority of us did not want because of that game's polarizing existence. Plus, Square Enix was making Tetsuya Nomura work on so many projects at once that he did not have time to focus on Final Fantasy XV and especially Kingdom Hearts 3, where all of us have been begging for that after Kingdom Hearts 2. Tetsuya Nomura was also working on so many of the side games within the Kingdom Hearts franchise, so he also comes to take part of the blame too. That, or it was mostly Yoichi Wada only wanting to make money and not giving a rat's ass about satisfying customers when he should have realized how much the Final Fantasy IP was failing due to the number of spin-offs, mobile games, and the hack job known as Final Fantasy XIV Online before A Realm Reborn relaunched the game about 3 years later. After his resignation and with Yosuke Matsuda taking charge, you can see the dynamic change where Square has been trying to win back the trust within their consumers and fan base. Granted, they are not perfect, as they still have so many bridges they need to desperately mend before doing much better. But with the release of Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, and I Am Setsuna have been great steps for the JRPG giant. With Final Fantasy XV being delayed, do we really want the game to release with a day one patch? Or should we man up and let them achieve the ultimate product that will please both Square Enix and ourselves? The answer should be a simple one, and I'm not talking about the day one patch. With all that said and out of the way, you are wondering why I think the delay is a good move on Square's part. First of all, November 29th is Black Friday in the United States, and that is the day when all the high-class technology such as Ultra HD TVs, Blu-ray players, movies, and video game deals will be hitting at a high time, so that it will better benefit our economy. Square is actually being smart from a business perspective because selling software, both old and new, during Black Friday of the holiday season is a big draw to ensure strong sales of a game. It's the same thing with hardware for that matter, and Final Fantasy XV is most likely the first Final Fantasy game to be officially declared amongst AAA status, as the most recent games felt more AA or between that and AAA quality. You want to have a game to bring about strong sales during that time frame for a publisher, and Square Enix is being smart on that aspect. Secondly, the game's director came on camera to address the whole matter to everyone in person and not on Square Enix's website or a blog site either way. Hajime Tabata was playing in the shoes of the late Satoru Iwata with addressing everyone about the delay, and he did it with the care and concern of many fans waiting for the game to arrive every single day. It is always good to keep in touch with a fan base like that, because Square Enix hardly did jack shit with addressing their fans since they were so out of touch with reality for quite a long time. Plus, all the marketing, including the Carbuncle Surprise campaign, behind-the-scenes material, podcasts covering the new aspects for Final Fantasy XV, and the Brotherhood Final Fantasy XV anime, along with the Kingsglaive Final Fantasy XV CGI movie, has been extremely phenomenal, as Square has not done a strong marketing push for a Final Fantasy game ever since Final Fantasy VII from 1997 in the United States and Europe. You got to give them props for actually thinking about the game for the consumer, as well as all the content they want to bring about post-launch that is made entirely from scratch when it comes to the Season Pass, which I will pick up. Granted, I fully agree that the price for the Season Pass is the most expensive, and most ridiculous I have witnessed for any game in general, but if Square is interested and fully passionate about the whole thing while giving us a full game in the meantime, then I see no problem in their philosophy whatsoever. You gotta remember that season passes are always optional, so you don't have to buy it if you don't want to. Do I think the game will surpass Final Fantasy VII and become the best-selling game in the franchise? It's hard to say, but I say it has a 50-50 shot where I am leaning more towards a probably not type of stance. Do I think the game will be successful regardless after its launch? Oh, absolutely! Will we see another game in the series where its development history being extremely troubled? I hope to God that it won't happen again, but it can happen if Square tries too hard with coming up with the next big game in the series. Hajime Tabata and Final Fantasy XV's development team, this is a message from me and all of us from around the world who are still waiting anxiously with seeing this game release. We wish you the best of luck, and we can only hope that Final Fantasy XV will exceed beyond your expectations. Just don't let us down in the end, because that is the worst thing to happen, which it has in the past. As long as you play your cards right, we can hope for another great game in the series. Just don't let us down. Alright guys, that is all with my 2 cents, so I want to hear your own. Are you fine with Final Fantasy XV's delay until the holiday season? Or are you very discontent towards Square's decision on this? If you are discontent about it, then let me know why. Be sure to rate this video as well as leaving your feedback down in the comments. Also be sure to hit that subscribe button underneath this video, as more support from you guys will mean that more content is coming from me in the future that you won't find anywhere else. Until next time, this is Double RPG signing off by saying Godspeed and game on gamers. Have a good one.